Street Gods, there, Kim. All right, some more turbo thoughts. So this one is how to become a philosopher. What does it mean to become a philosopher? So philosophy just means love of knowledge, love of wisdom, right? And the funny thing is, back in ancient Greek times, right, to call yourself a philosopher was a low-key way of saying, I love knowledge and wisdom, but I am not wise yet, right? And then you kind of have the you have the humble flexing of a Socrates. I am wise because I know I am not wise, right? And honestly, like, any kid is born a philosopher. They want to seek deeper understanding to things. The biggest impediment is those pesky parents and teachers and authority figures, right? So actually, the best thing I think you could do as a parent is entertain your kid the question why. Where in Korean, tại sao in Vietnamese, por qué, pourquoi, why, right? And so just Google the Zen of Eric Kim, or just go to ericKimphotography.com/blog/why. And I made this why app, Facebook chat bot messenger, where you ask it something and then it just keeps asking you the question why. And it's a good way to think about things, right? Like one thing I learned, back in the days, like the whole like 5 why question is, if you ask this, okay, 우리 버스 보러 가죠? 네. 버스, 네, 우리 버스 보러 가요. If you ask, 네, 아빠, 우리 버스 보러 가요. 싫어? 오케이, 우리 거의 다 왔어요. 네. So if you ask yourself the question why enough times, it'll actually give you a more clear sense of things. So for example, it's like, I want the Lamborghini, right? Why do you want the Lamborghini? Because it's cool. Why is it cool? Because it's really low to the ground and very angular. It's like, why is it very low and ground angular? Because it makes it faster and more aerodynamic. And then, you could ask yourself, like, why does that matter? It's like, do you really want to race a car? Like, are you about to go into the racetrack? Like, I don't even know where the racetrack is, right? Like, I like the idea of racing cars, but also I don't like the idea of dying. So for me, if I'd really want to race a car, I'd probably do it in a VR simulator so I don't die. Or better to just go to the gym and do really heavy rack pulls or squats, right? Because I like to get the adrenaline up. And so yeah, essentially to ask yourself the question why and be totally ruthless to yourself, and to become a deeper, more kind of a precise thinker. I think the issue with a lot of people is when they talk about things, they're not precise about things. They're too fuzzy about things. And I think a lot of people, the way they talk is people just kind of on autopilot, and they just kind of recite the news or social media or something, and they lack the A, opportunity, or B, the maybe experience or knowledge of just talking about what they think. So even as a pro tip, right, next time you meet up with a bunch of friends and family and stuff like that, try to spend the whole conversation not talking about anybody besides yourself, your kid, your wife, etc. Because to talk about other people is quite kind of uninteresting, I would actually say. And it doesn't really take skill or courage to talk about other people, unless, let's say, you're defending Kanye West, because there's nothing on the line, right? And that's why, like, the whole like preaching to the choir thing is not that useful. Like, for example, I'm liberal, right? I'm whatever, Democrat. If I'm in a room full of Democrats talking about democratic ideals, like, okay, like, we all into the same thing, cool, bro. But if I'm in a room full of liberals and I share some other views which I have, which sound more conservative or right-leaning or whatever, right-leaning, right? Then certainly that takes a lot more courage, right? The rule, one should not talk about politics. I mean, if the real politics is actually pertaining to the polis, to your own city, So to talk about international politics or national politics, to me it's kind of baseless. More interesting to talk about like local politics, like talking about your own city, like even a pro tip, like wherever you live, right? Check out the news or the website of your own local city and see the issues at hand at your own city. It's actually much more pertinent and easier to actually enact change, right? In terms of becoming a philosopher, essentially means to be more questioning about everything in the world. For me personally, I'm not so interested in quote metaphysics or this kind of nonsensory wizardry about the world. I'm more interested in practical things like how should one live their life? What is the point of knowledge? Like why aesthetics? Why photography? Why have kids, etc. So my thoughts are rooted much more in the pragmatic and the practical, the sociological. And ultimately, when it comes to philosophy, you can craft your world view however you like, and just I encourage you to just share it with others.